Hi everyone, it's Miss Marlene. Welcome to the math class. Today we're going to work on lesson number 1 of chapter 13 from your book. So please open up your books on page 753, okay? So we are going to start, and this lesson is finding perimeter. Now, perimeter is the distance around the outside of a figure or shape. You can estimate and measure perimeter. Now, remember that when we estimate, it's a number close to the exact measurement of an object or shape or a figure. Now, remember that when we estimate, we make a guess about something. So perimeter, as I repeat, is the distance around the outside of a figure or shape. Now, please turn your pages. We're going to start on this page. Now, for this lesson, you guys are going to be using your ruler. Now, if you have any ruler at home, please take it out. Now, remember that rulers have two sides. They have a inch side and they have a centimeter side. Your ruler has 12 inches and it has most common rulers have 30 centimeters. So an inch is larger than a centimeter. 1 inch is about halfway between 2 and 3 centimeters. So inches are very large, okay? Not very large, but they are larger than centimeters. Using the same objects from the first activity, estimate and measure each perimeter to the nearest inch. Now, on the last page, let me explain you. On this page, we are going to estimate these objects: a piece of a notebook paper, a math notebook, a desktop is, for example, your desk, a chalkboard, or a whiteboard. Now, on this side, we are going to estimate these objects using centimeters. On this other page, you are going to estimate, but in inches, the same object. So, for example, Miss Marlene is going to estimate. You guys are going to do the rest by yourselves. Miss Marlene is going to estimate the piece of a notebook paper in centimeters. Let's say that Miss Marlene says that a piece of paper it's 15 centimeters, but when you measure it, it's the exact number. So the number may be close to 15 or even 15, but you cannot estimate, for example, by just looking at the object, that a piece of paper is 30 centimeters. It's not reasonable to say it. So you have to estimate on numbers like close to what they are. Maybe by using your ruler, you can just look at your ruler and estimate what is each object. After you estimate, for example, your math book, I might say 30, for example, a desktop 41, and the whiteboard may be like 1,000 centimeters. It's just an example. And then we need to measure them. What is the exact measurement of this? Okay? Now, when you find the perimeter, you use a ruler, you measure, okay? You measure. Now, next page. And every time that you measure something, you need to add all of the measurements, okay? And then you're going to do the same thing, but in inches. Now, let's answer the questions in the bottom of your page 754. Why is it important to estimate the perimeter before finding its exact measurement? The answer is estimating helps to check for reasonableness. I was explaining just right now. Reasonable is razonable. Your estimation must be near the exact measurement. For example, I said You cannot say that a piece of paper is 300, but and the object is smaller, so you have to be reasonable and try to estimate a number close to the real value. Now, number 2, compare the perimeters of the object in centimeters to perimeters in inches. Now, I already said that inches are longer than centimeters, so how is your measurements going to change? How can we compare them? Well, the perimeters of the object in inches are smaller numbers because 1 inch is larger than 1 centimeter. Number 3, after measuring the length of each side of an object, what operation did you use to find the perimeter? We add all of the sides and then we have the perimeter. When finding the perimeter, you need to measure each side of a figure or of an object, and then you need to add them, okay? Next page. Now, listen you guys. For this part, you are going to use your ruler, and let me explain you what you need to do. Now, first we are going to estimate. The estimation of this object that the book is giving is 12 centimeters. You might write another number, but you have to be reasonable. You cannot say that this square, the one that you have in your book, it's 500 centimeters. It's not reasonable, okay? It's not logic to do that. What are you going to do? You're going to measure this part, sorry. Let me show you again. This part, you're going to measure it with your ruler, but in centimeters, okay? Then, let's say that the book is saying that this object is 14 centimeters, okay? Then you're going to measure these and write the answer here, and then here, and then you're going to measure here how many centimeters and write it, and then you're going to measure this part and then write it. Now, what is going to happen after you measure each of the sides of the figure? You're going to add them, okay? So for example, you might say 5 plus 4 plus 5 plus 4, for example. Then you have to add them, and the actual measurement of this object is 14 centimeters. So you're going to use your ruler to measure it and tell me how many centimeters is each of these sides. These are just examples that Miss Marlene is telling you guys. Remember that while you are using the ruler, you place your ruler here and you start it on 0, and then you measure all the way until here and you write how many centimeters is this side. Now for number 5, you're going to do the same thing. You measure this part, and then you measure this part, and then you measure this part, okay? Now, first you are going to estimate. Now, you might say a different estimation, but you cannot say 50 centimeters, 80 centimeters, because it's not reasonable. Now, this is the estimate, this is the guess, but the actual measurement, the actual perimeter of this triangle is from here to here is 3 centimeters, another 3 centimeters, and another 3 centimeters. How do they got this? You might ask yourself. Well, I am telling you guys that perimeter is all of the measurement around the figure. So to find it, you need to add 3 plus 3 plus 3 is equal to 9. This is where this number is coming from, number 9, okay? Now, estimate the perimeter of each figure in inches, okay? So first you have to estimate. We might say that this is 5 inches and the actual measurement is 5. Now, how do we got 5? From here to here, it's 1 inch. From here to here, okay? From here to here, another inch, plus another inch, plus another inch plus another inch is 5 inches. Can you see that inches is a lower number than centimeters? Why is that? Because inches are larger than centimeters, okay? And then you remember that you have to use your ruler to measure this. Now, my estimation is 6 inches. Now we're going to measure. From here to here is 1 centimeter. No, I'm sorry. This is not 1 centimeter. Okay? But the actual measurement of this is 7 inches, okay? You're going to measure from here to here, then here, this side, then this side, and then this side, and it has to give you 7 inches. How do we have 7 inches? We need to add them, okay? Remember that you need to add all of the sides to find the perimeter, okay? Now, circle whether the number of inches used to measure the perimeter of a figure will be larger or smaller than the number of centimeters. Remember that inches are larger than centimeters, so the number is going to be smaller, okay? Turn your pages, please. Now, problem solving, we are not going to do it, so please turn your pages on my homework, okay? Now, estimate the perimeter of each figure in centimeters. You guys are going to do the same thing as the last page, okay? First you estimate. Please take out your ruler and measure. Remember that you have to measure on your book from here to here, and then from here to here, and write it. Write how much is each side. After you measure each side, you add them, and the number has to be 8 centimeters. And also you have to do the same in here. Now you measure from here to here. You measure this side plus this side plus this side plus this side plus this side. It should give you 10. Remember that the first part is estimation, but they have to be reasonable. You cannot say that this rectangle, this figure number 1 is 8,000 centimeters. You have to be reasonable, okay? Now, we're almost finished with this part. And now you're going to do the same thing on this part, but in inches. Remember, to find the perimeter, you have to add all of the sides, okay? Use your rulers, please. Number 5, Gina used a centimeter ruler to measure the perimeter of the figure at the right. Which estimate is closest to the actual perimeter? So you have to take out your ruler and measure each side and then measure in centimeters. So is it 16 or 8 centimeters? The answer is 16 centimeters. Number 6, Allison used an inch ruler to measure the perimeter of the figure above. Circle the measure that represents the best estimate of the perimeter to the nearest inches. The answer is 8 inches. Now, what is perimeter? Is the distance around a figure or shape, okay? So that's it for this lesson. Hope you understand.